Hi, chess fans. Today I'm bringing you a classic game from the 1974 Canadian Open in Montreal. And this is Duncan Suttles versus Bent Larsen. Duncan Suttles is a Canadian chess grandmaster who retired from competitive play in 1985. And in 1974, Bent Larsen, who was a very, very strong player in the world at the time, came to Canada for the Canadian Open. And let's see what happened. So they played an English opening, and I want to go to a little later in the game, and we're going to look at this position, and it's really dead even, like it was for most of the game. You know, both players were playing very, very precisely and carefully, and you see in this position, white is up a pawn, but black has a passed pawn. So none of white's pawns um, can be called a passed pawn because there are pawns blocking their way. So, for example, this pawn is blocked by this pawn, and if this bishop wasn't here and this pawn moved, it would be able to be stopped by this pawn. So this pawn here is a passed pawn because it can't be stopped by any of white's pawns. So even though black is down a pawn, it has a bit of compensation because it does have the passed pawn, which, according to the computer analysis, if correct play is implemented, then you know uh, that compensation is enough to keep this game even and maybe end in a draw. So we'll see what happens in this position. Um, Black decides to go with, you know, his advantage, and and maybe the idea is he's trying to force white to maybe give up this bishop to prevent this from becoming a queen. So after this move, you'll see the evaluation bar moved a little bit in black's favor. So I think what's happening is black is going after this pawn, or white is going after this pawn. But computer might be saying that that is risky because this pawn might be able to get across. So um, again, black is going for its strength. It's that passed pawn, and it's nicely defended here by the rook. I mean, it's not optimal. It would be much better if that rook was over here, but it's not the case here. So it's defended a little bit. we can put it that way. And then it says this is really bad for white to go after the pawn here. And now, because now it's looking like, well, you've seen the evaluation bar move, and it's looking like black has an advantage here. Plays this correct move here to threaten the rook, and white plays here to defend the rook. And then black plays a move might be a little bit inaccurate, according to the computer, but black is trying to support the push of this pawn, and I think he's wanting white to have to give up this bishop. So white defends the well, moves the bishop out of the way and gets it down to g2, and then of course black wants to trade the bishop or sacrifice his own bishop so that the pawn can go across. So white just calmly moves back, and now we're back to an even game again. Um, until now. And the computer really doesn't like this move. And I think the reason is because you can see white can check and pick up another pawn. And now it's going to be very very comfortable for white to give up this bishop for the pawn, because now you see there are 4 passed pawns, 2 sets of connected passed pawns for the bishop. So white, with careful play, can win this ending. So first thing that he does is kind of pins the bishop to the rook, and right here, black plays a little bit of a trick. And see, the trick is, it looks like the bishop is free. But after here, here, and black is picking up the rook. Now, or picking up the picking up the rook here, and even in this position now, white, because of these pawns, white can draw this position. But you know, it's this is a computer talking over the board. I think both sides probably have chances to win, especially if you're playing at the club level. So in a situation like this, don't say it's a draw. Play it out and don't forget to calculate. But anyway, so uh, White doesn't play that move to take the bishop, and just makes his pieces better. And of course, White is trying to advance the pawns slowly but surely, and he can give up a pawn here because this pawn is getting a little further down the line. When the rook comes back, now you can see that white is slowly, patiently making progress. And here he can give up a bishop, or sorry, he can give up a pawn for the bishop, because this ending here, because black's king is not over here. White can win this game. The rook is not in a good position, and the king is not in a good position for black. In some rook endgames, it can be a draw when you're one pawn down by just careful defensive play, and but the key is to have your king in a good position. Here, the king is not in a good position. So after some moves like this, and I think this is where Bent Larsen resigned. But the idea here is that after say a move like check, you just advance the king, and if you just keep checking, um, which would be the only chance, um, you're going to just get your king to out of the way of the pawn, but shielded by its own rook. So, for example, after this position here, you would move here, and now, I mean, there's no more checks. King to e5, I think is what the computer suggests here, and then you just you get a queen, and after this trade, you can checkmate with a king and a rook. I do have a video on that as well if you want to brush up on that ending. So anyway, thanks for watching. Was a classic game, and I hope you got some tips out of this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.